Alright, so I thought of another video that I could kind of do. I want to talk about the freedom to explore while you're traveling, right? And what a great feeling that is, right? So, what I mean by that is because, although I've said this before, again, say it again, 1,000 times, whatever, although I don't consider Japanese people to be truly kind, and maybe nobody is, you know what I mean? Everything is that almost 99% of human interactions feel like they're actually just some form of convenience. Maybe it's convenient to be nice at one time. Maybe it's convenient for the person to assume the worst about another person, right? But again, Japanese people are very non-threatening generally, non-malicious, right? You know what I mean? For better or worse, it's a double-edged sword. I can't speak English, right? But because people are generally, they stay to themselves or whatever like that, it does give you that sort of feeling like, hey, that feeling of like safety, right? The fact that you can walk down any road whatsoever, and the most dangerous thing that's going to happen to you is, you know what I mean? Like maybe a grandma or might ask you like, do you want a blowjob or something like that? Like I remember that happened my first time in Japan, however many years it was ago. What was that? She was like, God, it was one of my first nights ever in Japan, and years ago. Grandma came up to me and she's like, how about I give you the real Japanese? She might have said blowjob or hand job or something like that. And I was like, whoa, okay, what? You know what I mean? But generally speaking, not a dangerous place, right? And it's cool when you can travel and feel safe, right? Because say like in a place when I was in Turkey, right? Turkey, well, if you remember the story of Turkey, I did not feel that safe while I was there, right? You know what I mean? The people were, there were definitely some people that were standoffish and were not friendly on the outside, but, there were people that were, let's say, outwardly friendly coming up to you. But again, a lot of them are just trying to sell stuff. And I even told the story of, at one point, some guy came up to me. He started talking to me, and I tried to speak to him in a little bit of Turkish. And the dude instantly, he was like, wait, you tried to learn Turkish? And he was like, oh. And he basically, almost literally was like, sorry, I just wanted you to buy something from me. I actually don't want to be your friend. And now I feel bad that you actually tried to learn the language. Goodbye. And he left, you know what I mean? It was almost literally something like that. And he was like, oh, so he didn't, he just wanted to scam me. And when he saw that I actually tried to speak some Turkish to him, he's like, oh, wait, you tried to learn the language for us? Like, oh, I feel bad now. I shouldn't do that, right? And he left, right? And of course, Turkey robbed multiple times. And, just in general, it was just such a shit show. And thankfully, I had some friends that I met there that were okay. But, generally speaking, I would go to Turkey again just because everything deserves a second chance. And of course, I love the animals, but it was a mostly bad experience, right? But in Japan, of course, in Turkey, I did not feel very safe there. To be honest, I would not feel safe walking down random streets, going wherever. You know what I mean? I would feel uncomfortable, right? Again, not everybody was mean to me. There were some people that were nice to me in Turkey. There were some girls, they'd come up to me like, oh, mashallah, mashallah, you know what I mean? Blah, blah. You know what I mean? But then, of course, while I was with Turkish friends there, they would tell me that other Turkish people were talking shit about me. And it was like, oh, he's fake. Don't worry. He must have had a lot of surgery. That's why he looks like that or something. It's like, dude, what? You know what I mean? So whatever. Again, when I talk about, convenience, kindness can be a convenience. And, just like assuming the worst about somebody. Maybe that is a convenience to assume the worst about somebody. But Japan, generally speaking, you walk anywhere and you don't feel threatened. You know what I mean? And that's like a great thing about Japan, that ability to feel safe, right? To feel safe is such a good feeling, right? There are some times in Japan where, I've had some dudes, God, I had one dude and I saw him coming. He was on a bike and I'm like, is this dude really? He's like giving me a bad look, and the dude like, he just tried to run into me and like tried to like shoulder tackle me on the bike, but the dude was so small, and he just like, and he like bumped over. I'm like, bro, are you serious? Like, obviously, I don't know what that was about. There's been some weird situations like that. But generally speaking, never felt, unsafe, right? Despite the circumstances, right? Being a foreigner, my Japanese is, I can read more than I can speak, but, But anyway, I just wanted to point that out. It's such a awesome thing when you can travel and you can feel safe, worried about anything. And of course, again, traveling all the time is just good for staying out of your own echo chamber. And I guess now, you know what I mean? I suppose there are some bad vibes because, like I said, I saw people posting about me on Twitter. I'm a sex pat. What? You know what I mean? I literally have Japanese dudes, not even foreign dudes, that are bagging on me, dude, why aren't you banging all these girls? Why do you turn down so many girls? While we're out, it's it's just not necessarily my thing. Maybe I've never had that high of a sex drive again. Is that because of, health stuff? It probably is. You know what I mean? Even this trip, you know what I mean? I'm almost 3 weeks into it. And, I have not had the energy to even be out for a full day yet because of health stuff. Which is, frustrating, but that's the life of a sick person. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? Your body is killing itself. So, it is what it is, right? And of course, geez, man, imagine a place like Turkey, I specifically went to expensive hotels in Turkey because I was like, oh, they don't want to, if something bad happens, they don't want a rich American to die there. And oh, God, look how the fuck that turned out, right? Whereas in Japan, I don't think I would be worried about that, or at least I've never had to feel worried about that yet. Sit down for a second. Oh, it's very wet. My butt is now wet. So again, but I was talking about, I guess there are bad vibes now on Twitter. So, because I'm friends with Nick, we've known each other for a while. And I guess Nick has a bit of a bad rap because of something he said in a video. And I watched the video and I'm like, this video is not even bad. What is this video? He's drunk and he's talking about girls. It looks like two dudes drunk and talking about girls. I had no idea about any of this kick stuff or this, streamer kind of stuff that was going on until a little bit before I left for Japan. And I guess I'm lumped in with it now because I know Nick, which is weird. Because like I said, the video that Nick has hate for, I looked at the video and I'm like, this isn't even a bad video. I don't know what this is about, but it's and also I've been coming to Japan for years and making videos, traveling, all this kind of stuff. So anyway, so I guess, there's a form of, that is I guess you could say an uncomfortable feeling, you know what I mean? It's oh, it's so weird, especially when I've already had so many stalkers. Like I said, I just had to call the police right before I left America because somebody basically seemingly followed me home and was waiting for me. Or I should say they were following me and then they waited, you know what I mean, to be more accurate. You know what I mean? Not the first time someone has found out where I live, but yeah, and of course there's been a little bit more weird comments on my YouTube since I guess people are trying to say a sex pet. Unbelievable, dude. What is going on? Me? There's some guy oh, he's a partier. He's a drinker and a partier. He's just trying to fuck a bunch of girls. I don't party and I don't drink. What is this, dude? Did you even watch my videos? Then some guy oh, I can't believe he thinks girls like him. You mean I literally have it recorded, mom and daughter asking me to fuck them at the same time, dude. I was like, what is going on, dude? Or any of these other, insane, just girl stories that I have throughout my life, not just in Japan, you know what I mean? I mean, God, look at the story of the girl coming home with me. Geez, crying, that was an experience. Or that story last time that girl wanted to meet me at the train station, dude. I get there, I'm walking around for, I don't remember how long it was, geez, might have been as much as an hour or whatever it was, that story was. And I'm like, where are you? She's like, oh, I'm here, I can see you. And I'm like, where are you? And I find out, and she's right over there. She had been looking at me the entire time at the ticket gate. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And she's like, oh, you're just much more hot and handsome and tall than I thought you were actually going to be. And now I'm too afraid to go approach you. And it's bro, I've been waiting here for a fucking hour. Are you serious? So that was ridiculous. You know what I mean? And we didn't even do anything. Then after that, we just took a picture, talked for a little bit. And it's well, already wasted an hour. I'm this is retarded. So But anyway, it's very, so that stuff is a bad vibe, and that stuff is uncomfortable, to see people posting about stuff like that. I guess there's weirdos everywhere, but, besides that, generally speaking, I never feel any bad vibe in Japan. Besides some random things, like that guy tried to ride me over with a bike, which is weird. Don't know what that guy was. A couple guys on the train, but I think they were just legitimately crazy. You know what I mean? Like, kind of having like panic attacks. But generally speaking, some people, I don't remember if it was my first or second time in Japan, and I took pictures of that dude, just me walking up, talking to grandmas, grandpas, whoever it might be. Me and that one grandpa, dude, we started talking, and dude, he hugged me and we took a picture. And I remember, someone else saw that picture and they're like, what the fuck? And they're like, you randomly were hugging a stranger in Japan, this old man? She's like, that is very weird. They're like, he must have really liked you, because she's like, I can't imagine hugging a stranger in Japan. Like, we don't do that. So, you know what I mean? Generally people, if you can get them to open up, they are seemingly, at least, fairly friendly, if they trust you. But again, the safety thing is what I would like to focus on. And it's unfortunate that maybe some of this kick stuff is streamer stuff is giving like foreigners a bad rap, because it would suck if Japan lost that sort of like safety feeling. Because if anything, I will say, all my times to Japan, again, I never even knew about any of this streamer shit. But now when I come here, I actually see not so much a lot of foreigners. I've actually seen a number of just Japanese people streaming, which, I don't know, maybe it's kicking up or, catching on everywhere. I don't know. Anyway, that's my little story for the day, because I would love to travel to lots of countries, but of course my health makes it difficult, you know what I mean? Who knows if I have to go to the hospital, and, even now, like I said, I've been here for 3 weeks, pretty much been in bed most of the time, so that's unfortunate. But I'd love to go to lots of other countries, but of course, even as a man, there can be kind of a safety and comfort issue, you know what I mean, and then money and everything else. But so it would suck if Japan lost that kind of feeling, right? Because again, the ability to travel and experience new things while feeling safe, I think, is very important. Anyway, remember, if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want. Appreciate it. Thanks. The end.